The Gravedigger's Curse. The wind whistled through the ancient tombstones of Black Hollow Cemetery. The full moon hung in the sky like a watchful eye, illuminating the solitary figure of Isaac Reeves, the town's old gravedigger. He had always said that death did not frighten him, but tonight a strange uneasiness weighed on his shoulders. Isaac was working on digging a grave which was nothing new to him, but this was no ordinary grave. The earth was hard, as if something inside it did not want to be disturbed. When he finally reached the lid of the coffin, he noticed that it was different from the others. Dark wood, almost black, carved with symbols he did not recognize. And to his amazement, heavy silver chains were attached to the coffin, as if trying to keep something inside. He hesitated. Part of him told him to stop, to cover the hole, and forget it had ever been there. But curiosity got the better of him. With a heavy effort, he removed the chains and forced the lid open. Inside, a withered body lay with its hands folded across its chest. Its teeth were oddly pointed, and its face, even in death, wore an expression of suppressed hatred. Then the wind stopped. A deathly silence filled the cemetery, and a distant howl cut through the night. Isaac felt a shiver run down his spine, but he couldn't tell if it was fear or just the cold. Later, at Owen Callahan's old tavern, Isaac tried to drown the strange sensation with a glass of whiskey. The barkeep, a burly, gray-haired man, watched his customer with suspicious eyes. "Isaac, you look pale. Did something happen?" The gravedigger spun the glass on the counter before answering. "Just a strange grave today. Something made me uneasy." Owen frowned, but before he could ask more, a man Isaac had never seen before approached. His dark hood hid part of his face, but his eyes, deep and dark as an abyss, stared intently at Isaac. "You opened the tomb, didn't you?" said the stranger in a low, grave tone. Isaac's eyes widened. "Who are you? How do you know that?" The man placed a coin on the counter and looked around, as if searching for listening ears. "You have released something that has been dormant for centuries, and now it will come after you." Isaac was walking home when he felt the presence. The footsteps on the dirt road were slow and heavy, but he knew he was not alone. The moonlight cast distorted shadows on the trees, and the absolute silence made him feel exposed. He stopped and looked over his shoulder. Nothing. Just the creeping fog and the silhouettes of tombstones in the distance. Then he listened. A low, guttural growl coming from the shadows. Isaac stood still. His heart hammered in his chest as his eyes tried to find the source of the sound. That's when he saw it. A silhouette appeared between the trees. Gigantic, misshapen, with eyes glowing like embers. The moonlight revealed sharp claws, gleaming fangs, and a hungry gaze. The creature roared, and Isaac knew in that instant that his life would never be the same again. And then, the night of Black Hollow was filled with screams. The roar echoed throughout the night, a primal, hungry sound that chilled Isaac to his bones. His instincts screamed to run, but his legs were rooted to the spot, as if the earth itself held him down. The creature advanced slowly, its heavy, hot breath condensing in the cold night air. Its eyes glowed like liquid fire, and each step it took caused the earth to tremble beneath its weight. It was the smell of rot and iron, the smell of death that broke Isaac's trance. Terror finally gave way to survival instinct, and he turned to run. But it wasn't fast enough. A violent blow struck him in the back, sending him sprawling to the ground like a rag doll. He rolled in the damp earth, burning pain spreading through his ribs. Warm blood trickled from a deep gash in his shoulder. The beast roared again, preparing for the final blow. That's when a shot echoed through the forest. The creature recoiled with a cry of pain, its skin burning where the bullet had struck. From the top of the hill, the silhouette of the stranger from the tavern, Adrian Blackwoods, appeared, holding a long-barreled rifle. "Here, damn you!" Adrian shouted, reloading the gun with nimble hands. The monster hesitated for a moment, then retreated into the shadows, disappearing into the trees. Silence returned, broken only by Isaac's heavy breathing. Adrian quickly came down to him, kneeling beside him. "You're hurt," he said, examining the gravedigger's shoulder. What the hell was that?" Isaac whispered, still shaking. Adrian's expression darkened. "A mistake from the past that you just released." Isaac woke up in a small, simple room. The morning light filtered through the window, illuminating the rustic wooden furniture. He tried to sit up, but a sharp twinge in his shoulder made him groan in pain. "Don't move too much," said a voice. Owen Callahan was there, sitting in a chair next to the bed. His gaze held a mixture of concern and severity. Where am I?" asked Isaac. "At my house. Adrian brought you here after the attack." Isaac ran his hand over his face, trying to sort out his thoughts. Was that a wolf? Owen let out a heavy sigh. A werewolf. Isaac laughed, but the sound was forced and humorless. That's crazy. It's the truth, and you set him free. The silence that followed was thick as smoke. Isaac felt a knot form in his stomach. What happens now? It was Adrian who answered, entering the room. His eyes were tired, but his voice was firm. Now, Isaac, we find out if you were just injured, or if you were cursed. And so the gravedigger's fate lay uncertain in the pale light of the new day. Silence filled the room. Adrian's words hung in the air like a death sentence. Isaac looked down at his wound. The flesh around the bite was still red and swollen, pulsing with an unnatural heat. He could feel something strange coursing through his veins, an unsettling tingling that wasn't just pain. How do we know if I'm cursed? His voice came out weaker than he would have liked. Adrian crossed his arms, leaning against the wooden wall. If the wound heals too quickly, if your strength increases, if your senses become sharper, these are the first signs. But the real test will come at the next full moon. Owen rubbed his face, visibly worried. That only gives us a few days. We need to prepare. Isaac swallowed hard. He was not a man of faith, but for the first time in his life he wished he could pray. The next few days were a blur. Isaac tried to act normal, but every little detail seemed different. The smell of burning wood in Owen's fireplace was stronger. The rustling of leaves outside sounded clearer, as if he could hear each individual leaf. And most disturbingly, his night vision had improved. The first night after the attack, Isaac woke up hungry. Not just any hunger, but a deep, insatiable need. He went to the kitchen and devoured a piece of cold meat, without even chewing it properly. But it wasn't enough. The hunger was still there, growing, demanding something he couldn't name. On the second night, he dreamed of the forest. In the dream, he ran through the trees with superhuman speed. The cold wind bit his skin and the full moon shone overhead like an irresistible call. Then he saw blood. He tasted the metallic taste in his mouth. He woke up gasping, his heart racing. On the third night, Isaac realized that he no longer needed light to see in the dark. Adrian watched everything without saying a word. But Isaac knew. He knew what was happening. The night before the full moon, Adrian finally spoke. It's happening, isn't it? You feel it. Isaac didn't answer right away. He was sitting outside Owen's house, looking out at the forest that surrounded Black Hollow. Yes, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. What if I transform? Adrian took a deep breath. We're going to have to stop you from hurting anyone. Owen, who was standing nearby, shook his head. I've seen this before. If we don't control it, Isaac, you might not be human again. That possibility hung over him like a death sentence. Adrian approached. There is a way to stop the curse before the transformation, but it won't be easy. Isaac looked up, locking eyes with Adrian. What do I need to do? Adrian hesitated. We need to find the source of the curse, the creature that attacked you. If we kill the original werewolf before the full moon, you can be cured. Owen sighed heavily. What if we fail? Adrian didn't look away from Isaac. If we fail, you will have to be restrained or killed. Silence fell again, but Isaac already knew his answer. He wasn't going to die. I was going to hunt the beast before she changed him forever. And so, the cursed gravedigger prepared to face the creature he had released. But time was against him, and the full moon was approaching. The full moon would rise in a few hours. Isaac, Adrian, and Owen made their way through the dark forest of Black Hollow, each step a reminder that time was against them. If they failed to find and kill the creature before it transformed, Isaac would lose his humanity forever. The cold wind carried the scent of damp earth and something else, a thick, metallic odor that Isaac now recognized with ease. Blood. It's close, Adrian murmured, gripping his rifle loaded with silver bullets tightly. Isaac, on the other hand, sensed the monster before he even saw it. His senses were heightened in a frightening way. He could hear the beating of a distant raven's wings, Owen's racing heart, and the low growl coming from the darkness. It was then that they saw. The beast was there, standing in the middle of the clearing, gigantic, hairy, and with glowing eyes, waiting for them. Time seemed to stop. Adrian raised his gun, but before he could fire, the beast charged at him with monstrous speed. Owen shouted something that Isaac didn't hear. It all happened too fast. The creature leapt at Adrian, knocking him to the ground. Isaac acted without thinking. He ran at the beast, faster than he should have been able to, and struck it with all his strength. The beast was thrown aside, surprised by the attack. Isaac staggered, gasping for breath. Something inside him was roaring to be released. The werewolf stood up, this time looking at Isaac with a different look. There wasn't just fury there. There was recognition. "No," Adrian murmured, wiping the blood from his lips. "I should have known." Owen frowned. "What it was?" Adrian looked at Isaac with deep regret in his eyes. "It's not just any monster. Isaac, this thing is the source of your curse." Isaac felt his blood run cold. "What are you saying? If he bit you, and you're changing..." Adrian clenched his jaw. That werewolf could have been human before. He could have been a gravedigger. "Like you." The beast growled, and Isaac understood. The tomb he had opened was no ordinary tomb. It was a prison. The curse had existed for centuries, and now he was the next link in the chain. No, he refused to accept that fate. With a cry of rage, Isaac grabbed the silver knife Adrian had given him and rushed at the creature. The beast lunged at the same time, and the two collided in brutal combat. Claws tore through flesh. Teeth gritted against emptiness. But Isaac had something the beast did not: consciousness. He dodged at the last second and plunged the silver blade into the monster's chest. The werewolf roared, a mixture of pain and relief, and fell to his knees. His eyes met Isaac's once more, and for an instant he saw something human there. Then the beast fell and did not move again. Silence. Adrian and Owen walked over, breathing heavily. "Did it work?" Owen asked, still in disbelief. Isaac fell to his knees, his body burned, but in a different way. The tingling was gone. His superhuman senses were diminished. He no longer felt the call of the moon. The curse was broken. Adrian let out a long sigh of relief. He finished. Isaac looked at the beast's corpse and felt something strange. Not joy, not relief, just emptiness. The price of his salvation had been high, but he was free, and now Black Hollow could finally rest.